What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rishraff back at it again. Today we got the Keycard stealer system. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And we're just gonna tap you. Boom. And as you just saw, we have their keycard now. So as you just saw, that's how it's gonna work. It's kind of just like the jailbreak one, you know, how you steal it. It's kind of like real life, you know, you steal it, they don't have it anymore, and then you have it. It's basically, we're going for the realism. We're going for the realistic look here. And this is one of my favorite ones to code so far because it's like you see it in the game. I literally just looked at it and I created a system based off just looking at it. So what we're going to do, first of all, is we need to get a key card. So I'm just going to get a key card here. Keep in mind, this is the toolbox. I do not own anything that comes in here. I don't own anything. This was made by... let me check. Super Tutor. So yeah, I just want the model basically just to show for the purpose of this video. So make sure you guys call this key card just with the capital K. The name, the spelling is very important here. And we're going to put this in the starter pack. So what the starter pack is. The starter pack is the player's starting off backpack. So whatever is in here, they're going to have in their inventory or in their backpack. I always thought it was called the inventory. But I just found out through the making of this video that it's actually called the backpack. How it's going to work, as you just saw, is we're going to use a click detector. So we're going to put this script in here and we're going to say give clicker. Okay? So what this is going to do is it's going to give the player the ability to do what they need to do. So short code here, only about 22 lines, 23 lines here. And we're going to be making it a little differently. So if you're a regular here on the channel, which I noticed that a lot of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you guys want to subscribe and want to see more content like this, go and hit that subscribe button. I mean, if you're signed in, I mean, it just helps me out. And then you get to learn more things to put in your guys' games. So we're going to make a little function here. It's called local function. And then we'll just end that. That's just the on character added function. That's not built in. That's something that I just made real quick. So we're going to call that in a little bit. But what we need to do first is go to another function here called local function on player added. And then we'll add the argument player. And then we'll say if player. Wow, I don't know why that did that. If player dot character. Then now this is a little different, and the reason I wanted to try out this method was because one of my buddies, he was coding this way, and I want to see if this is going to be a little more efficient than what I normally am used to, or if this is just going to be a mess and it's going to be harder for you guys to learn. Don't worry guys, as normal, I always go through all the code just to make sure you guys know what's going on. I should really change that variable name up there because the autocomplete is messing up. But what we'll do is we'll say added connect on character added right here. Don't worry guys, I'm gonna go ahead and explain everything that I'm writing out here, but I just want to go ahead and write it out so you guys can try and understand it for yourselves. So the way I see it is try and figure it out on your own, and then I'll come in and explain it because you got to learn how to learn by yourself. YouTube and all these instructors are not always going to be here, right? So that's the way I learn. Don't worry about this error right here. It just signifies that it's local behavior and it shouldn't be doing that, but don't worry, we'll fix all that. So local function player added. So basically when the player is added to the game, we're going to call this function. So this is how you'd call the function inside the connect parameters, or inside of the connect right here, you just put the function name. And then this takes another argument right here. It's called player. So if the player has a character, and every player has a character, we'll just do on character added, and then we'll call this. Basically, super simple. We're just calling two functions based off of the in-game function. So here's what's going to happen. If not character, find first child. And you'll notice that this method's actually a little easier to understand because it's a little more broken down. And we'll say click detector. I like to use my normal, so click detector. Make sure you guys spell it right, because spelling in this, I messed up a few times when I was practicing this and it just did not end well. So we'll say local CD. I just like to use, little names right here, but if you guys are using it in the professional space, make sure you guys spell things out. So we're gonna say instance.new click detector. So I'm just gonna let it autocomplete for me right here. So instance.new is basically when you're just making something appear out of thin air. So we need a brand new click detector. I'll say cd.parent equals character, wait for child, upper torso. And for those of you who are a little more advanced who are watching my video, why didn't you just go, well, Rishraff, why don't you just put a comma here and put cd dot and then just put character wait for child? Well, you could do that, but you don't want to do these things, like you don't want to do that kind of stuff when you're trying to really teach, you know, on YouTube. But even if I were just coding this by myself, I wouldn't do that because I like to reference the variable name. I mean, what's one more line of code and then you have a definite variable here, because I could just say instance.new click detector and then put the parent, but now I cannot reference it at all. So it's important to make it a variable. And although you could just put it here as well, you'll see why on the next few lines of code here. And then we'll say local, we'll call it TC for take card. So the take card is going to be the script that we're going to make. So it's going to be game.serverStorage, wait for child, and we'll call it take card. And it's not going to autocomplete because we don't have it there yet, but we will. And we're going to say clone. And then we'll say tc.parent equals cd tc.enabled equals true. And then that is basically that code right here. So this right here, local players, should not be highlighted. So what we're going to do is, because it's just a pet peeve of mine, just take that out. Oh, then we'll do that. So a little explanation on how this thing works. So when the player is added, we're going to check on player added. And if the player has a character, which 100% of the time they will, it's just a little checker so you guys know what's up. And so the game knows what's up. Then we'll call character added right here. And then we'll execute this function. So if they don't have a click detector, then cd click detector is an instance.new click detector, and then we'll set the parent for the character's upper torso. So this is where you're going to want to click. So you could do lower torso because that's where the belt is. So personally, if this was me, I would put lower torso, but for the demonstration purposes, lower torso is a lot harder to click because it's a lot smaller. So I like to use upper torso for the making of this video. But then we'll put local TC is we'll get the take card clone. So that's going to be a script that we're just going to make real quick, and then we'll call it tc.parent. Basically the script's parent, we'll put it under the click detector, and then we'll enable this script. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the server storage here and add another script. And you guessed it, we're going to call this take card. And if you're a little lost, it's okay. Just leave a comment or rewind the video and I'll be sure to get back to you, or I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. So we'll have it take card here. So what's happening in here is we have two scripts. We have give clicker, which as soon as the player joins, they're going to have a click detector on their torso. And then you have the actual take card script. So surprisingly, the actual take card script is actually shorter and it's super, super simple. So before we actually do anything, let's enable this. We'll set this false because you don't want a script that's not meant to be executing in a server storage, even though it won't execute, but you just want to be safe just in case, you know, it gets assigned to another player. So a quick 7 lines of code here. We'll say players equals game get service players, like we just saw. And then I just want to add the quotes here. And then skip a line here. We'll skip 2 lines actually. We'll say script.parent. Now none of this is going to autocomplete, and the reason for this is because we're referencing something that's not yet happening and it happens on runtime. Then we'll build in a function here. We'll say PLR, and then come here, skip a line. If you're a regular on the channel, I mean, this is what happens 24/7 on the channel. I mean, we're literally making functions all day because that's what code really is. And then all we have to do, so here's the thing. We have 2 players happening here. We have the player that's going to be clicking and taking, and then we have the player that's, well, going to be getting taken from. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to find the player that's going to be taken from. So we'll call it local, And then I just do that player or other player, but we'll call it taken player. So taken PLR, we'll use the lower camel case here. Say players, get player from character, script.parent, guess what, parent, because we need to go script.parent, which is the click detector, because that's what we're setting in the other script. Script.parent, and then the parent, which is the upper torso, and then we need to get the model of the character, so then .parent. So that's a little thing that, you just got to know the structure and the infrastructure of what you're actually wanting to do here. And then all you have to do is say taken player dot backpack, and that's going to autocomplete because it knows it's a player. Wait for child, keycard, and it's literally the code is writing itself here. .parent equals plr dot backpack. So the cool thing with click detectors is that what doesn't happen with touch and other functions is PLR is automatically getting passed through and you already get the player itself. So that way you don't need that get player from character. So Rishraff, why do we have get player from character here? Well, because we need to get the player we're taking it from, not our player, not us who's actually taking it. So you can name this taking player, but I just like to stick to my roots and go PLR. And that's basically that. I mean, you literally just made it within, 5-6 minutes. You made the entire keycard stealer from, Jailbreak or whatever games use it. I don't really play Roblox, but that's basically, I played Jailbreak. I played the game. People have been telling me to make stuff from it. So this is one of those things. So how do you test this? Well, you need another server player. So in case you're not familiar, you're going to want to go back here and you're going to want to go to test and start. So this makes a little local server. Don't press play, press start. Okay, so this window right here, this window is the server, and then this is going to be player 1 and this is going to be player 2 right here, but you can't really identify that. All right, so we got player 2 here. They're the security guard just chilling, and then we're going to come along right here and we're just going to tap you. Boom. And as you just saw, we have their key card now. Don't worry about this right here, this little SCP card. That's because it's not my card. I just found in the model. I don't recommend using random free models, but I'm not really planning on publishing the game, and I use this in a controlled environment, so I know what I'm doing in this instance, right? So let's just say that this player, right, wants the key card back. Well, we'll take this back. And boom. And I'll take yours back too. And now we have the two. And you could just go back and forth all day with this thing. So you're just like, well, Rishraff, what if I want to make it to where I have the key card already? Like at a safety, like, oh, max key card, max 1 key card per player. Well, let's get into that. So all you would do here is you would just add an if, and you would say if, the player's backpack already contains a key card. So you would just do if find first child right here, like what we did with key card. So if not, find first child in the backpack, but you would just put the key card here. So because you're probably wondering, why don't we have, when the player is joining, or when they're switching teams or whatever, they're going to get multiple click detectors, right? Because this function is going to fire every time they respawn. Well, they're actually not. And what's going to happen is, because we have this safety here, if not character find first child, and you can add a safety here, and if not, if not character, how you would do it is say taken player, or if plr.backpack. You get the point, right? I mean, you could just copy and paste this one. It's kind of hard to say out loud. It's kind of just a logical thing. But that's basically it for this video. Just a quick little tutorial. And this little simple logic here is, you can make whatever you want from this. So if you guys want to see more tutorials like this, hit that thumbs up. I mean, if you're signed in, which most people are, just hit the thumbs up real quick. It helps me, helps the algorithm, helps other people, learn and, advance within Roblox, and helps me out a lot. And hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, because you definitely don't want to miss videos like this. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.